talk about our performance of the night now. Big story going into the Lakers game against the Trailblazers. It was all LeBron. There was no Luka Doncic coming off a back-to-back from the night before. Under 8 minutes left in the second. Lakers lead. Find James. Why not? 55-47 going into the second half. All this was, friends, is another example of how LeBron ages backwards. 78-77 after the third quarter. Again, this coming on a back-to-back. Fourth quarter, just under 10 minutes remaining. James again knocks down the three. Lakers up 5. Then, he was hitting from deep last night. So deep, put the hoop to sleep. What do you know what I did there?
I'll see what you did there.
James, 40 points, 4 assists, 8 rebounds, passes Michael Jordan with multiple 40-point games at the age of 40. And look, the second 40-point game for LeBron since turning 40. That's more than the rest of the NBA. I just mentioned Michael Jordan. That's pretty good company for him. Overall, it's the 79th career 40-point game, tied with Allen Iverson for 6th most in NBA history. Back for some basketball conversation. Yes, Damian Woody's going to hang out for this. Tim McMahon, Tim Bontemps. I want to zoom out before we zoom in, Brian Windhorst. How do you put into perspective what we're seeing night to night from a 40-year-old LeBron James?
Well, there's a lot of people, including LeBron, who just make an assumption at times that his career is near the end. And I'm not seeing much deterioration. And if you look at what he's done just since his 40th birthday on December 30th, he's averaging 26 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, shooting 54% from the field, 44% from 3. That's over 22 games. That's not a good week. He is not slowing down. The Lakers are 14-8 in those games. He has been absolutely awesome since his 40th birthday. And look, I know Luka is the story of the Lakers both now and into the future, but LeBron is also playing fantastic basketball. We should recognize that as well.
Yeah, he showed it again last night. It's funny he mentioned that, Tim Bontemps, when we look into the future of the Luka trade, but we are all going to focus on the present because it was just done. People think maybe this could be the catalyst to put them on a run. But why is that the wrong way to look at the Luka LeBron situation right now, which is in the present?
Well, you look at this team, and they've got Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves, all guys who need to have the ball together to be successful, right? And you have 3 guys who need to have the ball that much. There's going to be diminishing returns. That's why we've seen when one of those guys isn't playing, the other 2 look really good, right? Because ultimately, it's hard to have all of 3 of them firing on all cylinders all at the same time. And without Anthony Davis on this team, yes, they've been on a great run. Yes, their defense has been good lately. I just don't see this team being able to play at the level defensively with this unbalanced roster to be able to be a real championship caliber team, despite the fact that LeBron still looks like a top 10 or whatever player in the league, and Luka Doncic is great, and Austin Reeves is good. There's just too much of an unbalanced nature to this team.
Yeah, and look, we believe that this trade in the long run, Tim McMahon, is going to work out much better for the Lakers. Luka, 25 years old, still entering the prime of his career, and you've covered his career for the entire time. How well do you think he'll quickly be able to expect to assimilate with LeBron and the Lakers and really his role with this team, big picture?
Yeah, and we saw Luka go through something similar a couple years ago when the Mavericks traded for Kyrie midseason. And really the mistakes that they made, or they deferred too much to each other. Also, the supporting cast was terrible. They were still a very good offensive team. Look, Luka and LeBron, these are 2 of the best basketball minds of all time. They will figure things out. One thing LeBron figured out real quick, if he runs, Luka's the best look-ahead passer in the league. You can expect to see a lot of that. How long is this going to take to really start cooking, though? That depends on when Luka Doncic gets back to being at the level that we've been accustomed to seeing from him. This is basically an early preseason stage for him, coming off the 4th calf strain he's had in a 2.5-year span, the longest absence that he's had. It's going to take him a little while to get his legs under him. Once that happens, the fit with LeBron will not be the problem for the Lakers.
Yeah, and look, they've only been on the court together just 3 times. They're 1-2 with Luka Doncic on the court. So you're wondering, when are we going to be able to see this chemistry form itself in the back half of the season? I love that Woody's here because I want to get a fan's perspective, right? You're going to be the voice of the Lakers fan. Big picture, it hasn't been great since Luka, but LeBron still looks good. What are you feeling as the resident Lakers fan here on the set?
that we're on two different timelines. You know, when you make, that was the first thing I thought about when they made the trade for Luka Doncic. It's like, okay, we have the here and now with LeBron, but clearly as a resident Lakers fan, we always want a star in Los Angeles. We have that in Luka Doncic. I don't even think the Lakers are contenders with how they're currently constructed right now. They're too small. They don't have any type of interior presence. And then I question, multiple guys are ball dominant type of guys. How is that going to work out? So I don't think they're in a Western Conference with the OKCs, the Denver Nuggets. I don't see the Lakers coming out of that. I think my biggest thing from this whole, post-trade is how much can Luka Doncic learn from LeBron as far as how to take care of yourself?
Sure.
I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, we're talking about one of the best players that I've ever seen in Luka Doncic, but he could self-sabotage himself by his conditioning. How is he going to do that, and how are the Lakers going to be able to surround Luka Doncic post-LeBron when he eventually, I don't know when it's going to happen, but when he eventually moves on?
There is so much green juice and gluten-free food in LA. I think he's going to be fine. There's a juice bar around every corner in LA. I think in terms of getting physically fit, he'll be fine. But not the same can be said for the Spurs. It was a great night for one of the greats in the NBA. It is our performance of the night. Now, the story in this one, there wasn't any Luka Doncic. He was ruled out for Thursday's game. But when you have LeBron James, it is going to be just fine, even at the age of 40. Jackson Hayes finds James for the finish. Lakers up 55-47 going into the second half. Under 3 minutes to go, Lakers by 1. James from the corner. Lakers lead by 1 after the third quarter. Get back to that night. Yesterday or the day before, they were up in Portland last night. James knocks down the 3. Lakers up 5. Then less than a minute later, James buries another 3 from the wing. Lakers up 8. It was just a vintage performance out of LeBron last night. 40 points, 4 assists, 8 rebounds. The Lakers hang on the road 110-102. So it's the second 40-point game for LeBron since turning 40. That's more than the rest of NBA history combined. Michael Jordan is the only other player to ever score 40 at the age of 40. Overall, it's the 79th 40-point game of his career, tying him with Allen Iverson for 6th most in the NBA. We have 2 Tims and a Wendy now to discuss all things NBA. And Wendy, look, I want to focus on LeBron first based on what we saw last night out of him at the age of 40. What did you put into perspective?
I wasn't even sure he was going to play in this game. He was listed as questionable. He had played heavy minutes the night before in that loss against Charlotte. He played all but 3 minutes in the second half of that game. He's obviously still dealing with a foot issue. They get in the middle of the night. He comes in and shows tremendous energy in this game. Look, you don't have a must-win game in February, but considering they're playing the Nuggets tomorrow night, which is their third game in 4 nights, this was a coming off back-to-back losses. This was an important one, and he stepped up and delivered. His numbers since he turned 40, Matt, crazy stats. 26, 9, and 8 on 54% shooting, just as good as you could ever expect from him at this age.
It just keeps getting better, which is scary to see with all the mileage on his body from coming into the NBA as a teenager, Tim Bontemps, and living in the present. And we all want to do that because this Luka LeBron trade was such a stunner. But why is that the wrong way to look at this Lakers roster, particularly those 2 right now?
Because they're not built to win right now. With LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and Austin Reeves, that's not a trio that's going to work in the playoffs, right? All those guys at this point in their career, including LeBron, are negative players on defense, and they all need the ball too much, right? You trade Anthony Davis away, who's an elite defensive center. There's a reason the Lakers went and tried to get Mark Williams, right? Obviously, they rescinded that trade, but they needed a big. They didn't get one at the deadline. Now they're playing, Jackson Hayes and Alex Len. I mean, guys who are on minimum contracts and bounce around the league for a reason. So right now, the Lakers aren't good enough to win a title. But this isn't about winning a title in the next 3 months. This is about having now a potentially 10-year window with Luka Doncic and his age 25 season, a guy who could be the next great long-term star of the Lakers, which 3 weeks ago they didn't have that guy.
So that begs the question, Tim McMahon, because you've covered Luka for his entire career with the Dallas Mavericks. How quickly, based on what you know of him, will he be able to be comfortable, get healthy, and assimilate to everything that LA has to offer with the Lakers and LeBron?
Yeah, and look, the concern is about Luka Doncic getting fit, not how he fits with LeBron James. Those 2 guys are basketball geniuses. that stuff out. And I don't want to harp on Luka's conditioning. I'm a guy who enjoys a post-game brewski or twoski. So is he. But it is the primary reason that the Dallas Mavericks decided to trade a 5-time first-team All-NBA selection before what should be his prime years. And look, this is a challenging situation for him. He's had 4 calf strains in the last 2.5 years. Each one's been a little bit more severe. He's coming off the most severe of those, was out for 6 weeks. This is basically early in a preseason process for him. You can tell he doesn't have his legs. It will come. He's not going to shoot 20% from three-point range. You're going to see the full blast, dominant version of Luka Doncic at some point soon. It might be as soon as Tuesday when, oh, by the way, the Mavericks are in LA.
So Winnie, that's a great point from Tim McMahon. So is there any reason to be concerned about the start of Luka's tenure in LA?
I'm not concerned about his overall play. I know they'll come around. I'm concerned about how the Lakers are going to fit together. The last 2 games that Austin Reeves played without Luka, he had 45 points and last night had 32 points. The 3 games he played with Luka, he averaged 15. So look, you don't need to be a next level person to realize that they're going to have difficulty maximizing their most talented players. And so their roster is out of balance. And so what I would just say is watch these next couple of months and see what Luka can be. Don't do anything crazy like predict that this team is going to make a run to the Western Conference Finals, because that's not real. What's real is these guys learning how to play together over a period of time.
What's also real is Tim McMahon and a brewski or twoski. You know what? Maybe it's time for cakes and eggs on Get Out. We're going to make that new segment coming up. And I've seen him. It's a 3-ski. There's no stopping.
You had pancakes yesterday.
We did have pancakes. Good. We can put some Jameson syrup on it. Gentlemen, thank you. Coming up, we're spending...
How's it going, everybody? Villa Sports Network here. Just want to thank you guys for your support on the channel. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Also want to kind of remind you to don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment on the video if you like as well. But regardless of the fact, thank you again for your support, and hope to see you on the next video.